Why do naive men always suffer most with the wrong women? That mistake costs years. You thought she was pure, you thought she was different, but every smile, every touch, every word was the same script she's played with countless men before, and you were just another scene. Machiavelli warned appearances are weapons. In female psychology, a past of endless conquest doesn't vanish, it turns into control. In this video, I'll expose 6 hidden signs she's been with many men, and the 4th is the most dangerous manipulation I've ever seen. If you've ever felt like the fool who gave everything and got nothing, don't treat this as advice. Treat it as your turning point. Stay until the end. Welcome to Simplify Success. 1. Too comfortable with intimacy too soon. The night you thought was passion was actually the moment you were replaced. You believed that intimacy meant you were chosen. In reality, it only meant you were easy to reach. Picture Daniel, 32, an engineer living in Austin. He meets a woman at a rooftop lounge, vibrant and magnetic. Within hours of their first drink, she leans close, brushing his arm with practiced ease, speaking about intimacy like she is ordering another round of cocktails. Her words drip with confidence, her laugh is effortless, her touch familiar. Daniel feels special. He thinks he is unlocking a part of her no one else has seen. Days later, they spend the night together. For him, it feels like a milestone. For her, it feels routine. The morning after, she is distant, scrolling through her phone, replying to other men. She kisses him goodbye with the same casual smile she gave the bartender the night before. Daniel stares at the door when it closes, his chest hollow, realizing he was never chosen. He was just another rehearsal in a play she has performed many times before. He thought intimacy was a bond. She thought intimacy was a transaction. He thought closeness was love. She thought closeness was leverage. When did closeness arrive too fast and feel practiced, not rare? Tell me in one line, and I will map the move that flips the script. Machiavelli warned that what appears to be freedom is often control in disguise. A woman too quick to collapse the distance between you may not be liberated. She may be hollowed out by repetition, her walls eroded by countless encounters. Healthy intimacy carries weight. It builds like a fortress, brick by brick. Trust, vulnerability, investment. When that fortress does not exist, you are not standing inside her heart. You are wandering through ruins, mistaking debris for a foundation. So ask yourself, have you ever met someone who made intimacy feel too easy, too fast, too practiced? Did it make you feel desired, or did it leave you haunted by the question of how many men had stood in that same place before you? What comes next is not chemistry. It is the way power shifts when boundaries vanish. Daniel's story is not unique. Many men confuse speed for connection. They believe early closeness is a sign of genuine attraction. But attraction without hesitation is often performance, not vulnerability. When her eyes lock with yours too soon, when her jokes carry hints of practiced seduction, when she slips into closeness without the slightest flicker of doubt, it is not about you. It is about her repetition. The script is well rehearsed, and you are simply the next actor on stage. He believed presence was intimacy. She believed presence was surrender. Here is the cold truth. A woman who values connection will not hand herself over like a free sample. She understands that intimacy carries risk, and risk demands trust. When there is no pause, no filter, no wait, what you are experiencing is not closeness, it is erosion. And erosion never builds, it only destroys. Do not reply instantly. Do not offer your desire as proof of worth. Let her wonder, let her earn the right to your attention. You will notice her pause, you will notice her recalibrate, not because she suddenly respects you, but because she can no longer predict you. And this is where the tension grows. Because the next sign reveals what happens when those eroded boundaries become permanent. It is not just intimacy that collapses, it is the entire emotional lock that should protect both of you. Miss what comes next, and you risk stepping into a bond that was never real. 2. Lack of emotional boundaries. The moment she stops blushing is the moment you start bleeding. You think comfort means safety, it often means practice. When closeness arrives without weight, you are not special, you are convenient. Chicago, late afternoon. A project manager named Michael, 34, meets a woman at a quiet neighborhood cafe after work. Not a bar. Warm light, low music. She sits down and locks eyes with a smile that looks perfectly placed. Within minutes, she leans in. The talk slips to past nights and bold stories, like she is reading from a menu. Her fingers rest on his knee for one beat too long. No pause, no search for the right word, no shy laugh. Michael feels wanted. He thinks honesty is flowing. She calls the server by his name and jokes like they have met before. She tells Michael that she likes men who are direct. Then she invites him to walk. In the cold air, she takes his hand as if she has held that hand 100 times. Back at his place, she moves with muscle memory, shoes in the same corner, bone face down, lights at the same dim. He tries to talk about meaning. She changes the subject to timing. After, she showers and hums. No glow, no stillness. She scrolls. A message pops up with a heart from a name he does not know. She says that it is nothing and kisses his cheek like a friendly goodbye at an office door. The silence that follows is not peace. It is a mirror. He thought closeness was rare. She treated it like a routine. Next time, the blush is gone and the talk turns raw. Will you hold the pause or rush to fill it? Say it, and I will show you how that silence becomes power. Machiavelli warned that appearances disguise control. A missing boundary is not freedom. It is a gate that never closes. A lock forced too many times no longer protects the room. In love, it becomes a stage set that fools the new actor. Intimacy without weight is not a bond, it is choreography. What looks like chemistry is often repetition. What looks like connection is often a test of how much you will give for nothing. Have you noticed the little tells? No blush when the talk turns raw. No pause to measure what a touch means. A perfect lean that gives a spark without a single flicker of risk. Eyes that look through you like the path is already mapped. That is not fate. That is a script. What comes next is not rejection. It is how power slides away when boundaries never show up. In the mirror, a pattern appears. He believes that emotional honesty creates intimacy. She reads that honesty as free access. He keeps offering more attention as proof of depth. She grows colder because nothing must be earned. Availability becomes boredom. The faster he gives, the faster meaning dies. Do this now. Do not overshare tonight. Do not explain your feelings to ease her momentary doubt. Sit with your own silence for 1 hour and let space carry your value. Notice what shifts. You may see her stop testing, not because respect suddenly appears, because she can no longer read you like a manual. If that feels scary, breathe. Fear here is a signal that you are learning self-control. The next part gives you a simple frame to hold that space, without games and without cruelty. Soon you will see why saying less protects your value and pulls honest people closer. And here is the line that separates men who keep losing from men who regain control. When boundaries are gone, a wall appears. It smiles. It talks. It performs closeness while hiding the person you want to meet. Miss the next section and you will keep investing in a mask. Stay, because the next sign reveals the emotional wall itself and how it keeps you outside while making you believe you are in. 3. The emotional wall. The moment she smiles at you yet you feel distance is the moment the truth speaks. Warmth does not always mean access. It can mean control. You think she is choosing you, she is keeping the upper hand. What looks like connection is often a show, rehearsed many times before. Seattle. A cold Tuesday night. Adrian, 36, product designer, meets her at a ramen bar. She is glowing, coat draped neatly, stories flowing like water. A funny job memory, then a tender line about her father. He feels pulled in. She touches his wrist, eyes soft, but when he asks a deeper question, she pivots with a laugh and a sip. Days later, FaceTime. She recalls a painful breakup, yet her tone stays polished, practiced, no stumbles, no raw edge. At his apartment, she kisses with fire, but grows silent when he asks about the future. Her phone lights up in the kitchen, names he does not know. She flips it down with a smile that says, "Not tonight." Weeks pass. He notices how she can share everything yet reveal nothing. The night he invites her to meet his sister, her eyes flicker cold for a second, then she kisses him again and changes the subject. On the ride home, he looks into the dark train window. His chest is empty. He thought he was stepping closer. He was walking through a house where every important door stayed locked. When did you keep knocking on a smiling wall that never opened? Be honest, and I will show why control stayed out of reach. Machiavelli warned that people wear masks when power is on the line. This wall is not boundary. A boundary protects two hearts as trust grows. The wall is a fortress built from past losses, brick by brick, designed to keep every man outside while still feeding on their attention. She lets you feel close without ever letting you be close. In the theater of desire, the actor who shows only the costume keeps the applause while never stepping off stage. What comes next is not rejection. It is the way control shifts quietly when your curiosity keeps hitting locked doors. Here is the mirror. He invests time and honest words, believing that will open the gate. She curates stories, believing mystery maintains power. He hears laughter and feels chosen. She studies his reactions and gathers data. He leaves full and hollow. She leaves confirmed that she sets the rules. Presence without access becomes surrender. Do this now. Ask one question that matters and let silence sit. If she sidesteps, end the call with warmth and no explanation. You will notice energy shift. Not because she respects you yet, but because she can no longer read you. If that thought makes you uneasy, remember this tension is proof that you are taking back control. The next part will show you how to hold that space without losing warmth, so that only the real ones stay. Soon you will see why saying less can become the strongest signal you have. But there is another truth. When a wall stands too long, an orbit forms around it. Male friends that text at midnight, exes that never left, a tension that keeps the wall strong. Skip the next section and you stay stuck outside, mistaking the tour for intimacy. Stay, because what comes next reveals the overcrowded male network that keeps you competing without even knowing it. 4. Overcrowded male network. The moment her phone lights up more for men outside than for you is the moment truth breaks. She calls them friends. She calls it harmless. You call it trust. What it really is, supply. A steady stream of validation that keeps her fed while you mistake competition for connection. Atlanta, early morning. Marcus, 32, a sales consultant, walks into her apartment with coffee. On the table, her phone buzzes non-stop. Notifications stacked like dominoes, different names, different tones. She laughs at one, sighs at another, types quickly, then turns to him with a soft kiss. Later, at brunch with her group, Marcus notices she knows every waiter by name. She tells a story about a friend in marketing, another about a friend who fixes cars, each anecdote linked to another man. That night, he asks lightly, "How many guy friends do you have?" She shrugs and smiles. "Oh, they're just friends. You worry too much." Her phone lights again at midnight. She steps into the kitchen, whispers with her back turned, and comes back saying it was nothing. The next weekend, he sees her at a party. She hugs 3 different men too long, their eyes lingering like history never closed. His chest locks. He realizes he is not the main character. He is one in the rotation. Tonight, when her phone lights up and your chest tightens, can you stay still and say nothing for 1 hour? If you dare, I will turn that calm into leverage. Machiavelli warned that power is rarely where it appears. A circle of men is not just friendship, it is a fortress of attention, a net that never lets her ego starve. Each man supplies a piece. One gives laughs, one gives help, one gives comfort, one gives desire. Together they create an illusion of abundance. For her, every orbiting man is a mirror saying she is wanted. For you, it is a silent reminder that scarcity is not in her world, but in yours. What comes next is not harmless. It is the quiet way power slips when you compete without knowing you are in a game. He gives exclusivity and thinks it is intimacy. She keeps multiple channels open and calls it normal. He tells himself she is transparent. She tells herself she is free. He waits for depth. She thrives on options. Presence for him means commitment. Presence for her means constant supply. Act now. Stop asking who every man is. Watch instead what her phone, her timing, her patterns reveal. If she brushes it off with charm, do not press. Go silent for one night. Let her face the absence of your reply. You will notice which friends she leans on when you are not available. The lesson is not cruelty, it is clarity. If you feel fear while doing this, breathe. That fear is the first step of taking back control. The next part will show you how intimacy itself becomes a weapon, traded and withheld to keep you in line. Soon you will see why what feels like closeness can turn into the most dangerous currency in her hands. Miss the next part and you will never understand why every kiss, every touch, every night together might not be love, but leverage. Stay, because the next sign exposes intimacy as currency, the tactic that makes even strong men obedient without realizing it. 5. Intimacy as currency. The moment a kiss solves an argument is the moment the price tag appears. You think softness means reconciliation. It often means a payment. She smiles. You forget the question. The fight ends without an answer. Your heart feels close. Your position just got sold. Houston, late Sunday. Ryan, 35, nurse on night shifts, tells her that he cannot lend money this month. The air cools. Her jaw tightens. Then she steps forward and lays her head on his chest. Her voice turns gentle. She says that she hates tension and that she just wants peace. She kisses him, slow, hands on his neck. The talk melts. They end up in bed. In the morning, she laughs like nothing happened and asks if he can help, just a little. He says yes before he knows why. Weeks later, he finds a flirty message from a man in her phone. He confronts her. She goes quiet, turns away and says that she does not feel safe now. She moves to the couch and says that she needs space. No touch that night. No warmth. 2 days later, she texts a heart and says that she misses him. He rushes over and they make up again. The pattern becomes a loop. When he resists, intimacy floods in. When he questions, intimacy dries up. He realizes he is not in love. He is in a ledger. If you could text the "you who paid with touch" to end a fight, what would you say? Give me one sentence and I will rewrite it in a Machiavellian voice. Machiavelli warned that favors bind more than chains. In the theater of desire, touch can become a coin. You are not receiving affection, you are paying to end discomfort. When she wants something, tenderness appears. When she wants control, closeness disappears. Pleasure is the reward, distance is the punishment. The mask says romance, the math says transaction. What comes next is not passion. It is how the balance of power changes when your need for touch pays every bill. Look in the mirror. He mistakes chemistry for truth. She measures his craving and learns the price of his agreement. He confuses reunion with resolution. She learns that pressing the right button silences his questions. He gives more presence to feel safe again. She keeps the switch and decides when safety returns. Intimacy without honest talk does not heal. It buys time and hides debt. Do this now. The next time tension rises, do not reach for comfort. Ask one clear question that would normally get lost. Then be silent. If she answers, you move toward truth. If she detours into kisses and soft promises, pause the moment with kindness and say that clarity first, closeness after. You will notice a shift, not because she suddenly changed, because you refuse to pay with your body for the peace that your mind still needs. If that makes you anxious, breathe Anxiety here is a sign that you are training self-control. The next part gives you a simple script to hold the line without cruelty so that connection returns as a choice, not as a currency. In 30 seconds, you will see why the quiet pause can be stronger than any apology. A woman who trades intimacy often studies men like a map. She learns triggers, she learns rhythms, she learns exactly which praise unlocks your guard and which silence makes you chase. Miss the next section and you will keep paying with your dignity while believing it is love. Stay, because the next sign reveals mastered manipulation tactics and how to break the pattern before it breaks you. 6. Mastered manipulation tactics. The moment she mirrors your soul is the moment you should doubt the mirror. You think you finally feel seen. What you are is mapped. She praises the exact thing you want to hear, and your guard falls. That feeling that this is perfect is not destiny, it is design. Phoenix, late afternoon heat. Evan, 33, software lead, works from a co-working loft. He meets her at the espresso bar. She notices his watch and says that it matches the way he moves when he makes decisions. He laughs. She asks about the one project that keeps him up and names his fear before he does. Dinner the next night. She compliments the part of him that no one mentions. The quiet way he protects people in meetings. He feels rare and chosen. When he admits that he hates conflict, she says that real men choose peace by choice, not by fear. The third week she nudges him to skip a weekend with his brother because she misses him. He hesitates. She leans in and whispers that she loves how loyal he is. He cancels. Later, he finds a message from a man that uses an inside joke he does not know. He asks about it. She tilts her head that soft angle, places a hand on his chest, and says that he is overthinking. The next morning, she floods him with praise that he is the most stable man she has met. That night, she asks if he can review a pitch deck for her friend. He stays up until 2. At the meeting, she gives the win to someone else and tells Evan that he is her rock. When he finally asks for clarity about them, she says that labels ruin magic. He hears the sentence and feels the floor go thin. She did not fall in love with him. She fell in love with the way he responds to the right buttons. Machiavelli warned that the prince studies men to rule them. Some women study men to steer them. The difference between intuition and design is time. Intuition unfolds. Design arrives complete. She builds a map of your pride and your shame. She charts the praise that makes you open and the silence that makes you chase. In the theater of desire, the costume that fits too perfectly is rarely an accident. It is tailoring. What comes next is not romance. It is the quiet transfer of power that happens when your need to be understood becomes the remote in her hand. He mistakes rapid resonance for real alignment. She treats data points as doors and collects them with a smile. He hears the right words and assumes truth. She watches which words change his choices and stores the sequence. He gives access because he wants to be known. She holds control because she knows what he wants to hear. Do this now. Pick one area where praise usually dissolves your boundaries. When the compliment arrives, say thank you. Then pause and keep your plan unchanged for 24 hours. You will notice who stays when they cannot steer you. If that pause makes your stomach tight, breathe. That tension means your power is returning. The next part gives a simple script that keeps warmth while removing the handle from your back so the connection becomes mutual again. This week, set one limit that praise cannot move and silence cannot buy. Name it and I will give you the line that protects it. In 30 seconds, you will see how one calm sentence can end a cycle that once took months. A woman who masters tactics can turn every sign you have seen into one loop that never ends. Too fast intimacy that becomes normal. No boundaries that feel like freedom. A smiling wall that keeps you outside. An orbit of men that keeps you competing. Closeness that turns into currency. Skip what comes next and you will repeat the pattern with a new face. Stay because the conclusion ties every sign into one strategy that restores self-control, respect, and real connection. This is where everything comes full circle. What you've just seen isn't about pointing fingers at women. It's about patterns that reveal how power and desire really work. From intimacy that comes too fast, to walls that keep you outside, to manipulation that turns affection into currency. Every sign is proof that appearances are weapons. Machiavelli warned that freedom without discipline is never freedom. It is control in disguise. And here's the truth. You don't need to be cruel to be strong. You don't need to chase to be chosen. The shift begins the moment you stop paying with your time, your attention, and your self-respect. Power is not about louder words or constant presence. It's about silence that cannot be predicted, and boundaries that cannot be crossed. One of our viewers, David, a 38-year-old attorney from Chicago, wrote to us last month. He told us he had spent years repeating the same mistakes, falling for women who drained his time and his confidence. After watching these lessons and applying just one change, pausing before reacting, he said his relationships transformed. Colleagues respect him more, his girlfriend now tests him less, and his own words carried new weight. David left us with this line: "The day I stopped proving myself was the day I finally got respect." You could be next. Subscribe now, because the shift starts quietly, but it changes everything.